Welcome back, AfterBuzzers, to the Real Housewives of Dallas after show. So tonight, we're talking LeAnne controlling Kameron. And again, we're talking very, very racist remarks. All of this and a dinner that was never eaten. All that coming up for you next.
I'm Maria Menounos, and you're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Hey, what's up, AfterBuzzers? Welcome back to the Real Housewives of Dallas after show. We're here, season 4, episode 14, Triggered in Thailand. Woo woo! All right, you guys, I am your host, Erika Edwards, and I'm so happy to be here. And I can't do it without my crew, but they're sick and not here today. So I'm missing you ladies, I'm missing you guys totally this week because this episode was off the chain. I actually enjoyed this episode, you guys. I know Dallas this season has been back and forth with the excitement, but all right, even though it's just me, we have everything, so stay tuned till the end because we do have news and gossip and some crazy tweets. All of that is going on. Yay. All right, you guys. So we're going to talk with kind of the biggest topic in this episode, which was LeAnne guilt-tripping Kameron. So this episode sort of starts off with LeAnne screaming her head off at Kameron and kind of really making Kameron feel guilty about having a good time with the girls at the red light district. And she goes into this rampage and actually brings Kameron to tears. And it's been a really just kind of a crazy episode to see LeAnne totally freak out. Again, we catch LeAnne making these clearly, at this point, racist remarks in her references to Kary. And for some reason, she's under the impression that Kary is the one that, made them all go to see the ping pong show. But if you all recall, actually, this all started when Travis first told Stephanie about it, back when they were planning the trip. So Stephanie was the one who really made the initial suggestion to even go to the red light district. And Kary was just down for it. But for some reason, LeAnne has chosen to blame Kary. And, so we see kind of LeAnne, and what LeAnne really does in her first discussion with Kameron is to pull at the whole, it's going to, it might ruin your reputation if people know you went to the red light district. And this totally just has Kameron floored. She's crying, and it's kind of scary to see how actually afraid of LeAnne that Kameron is. I mean, it's crazy. Let me see if there's anybody. Hey, you guys, I see there are a few people in the chat. We're here, so feel free to say something. Kick it, you guys. Let's if you have anything to say, certainly let me know. But welcome, you guys. So yeah, it was interesting to kind of see sort of that dynamic between LeAnne and Kameron, because she was really kind of fearful of her, and she just didn't understand. She just went in, and LeAnne just let her have it in a way that was kind of frightening. And so what's interesting is then we have kind of the girls' reactions to it, because at one point we see D'andra kind of being supportive to Kameron, and we see Kary and D'andra and Kameron go shopping the next day, and they're kind of going through all of the whole back and forth between LeAnne and Cam. And it's interesting because obviously Kary and D'andra are not fans at all of LeAnne. Now, Kary makes the point to tell Kameron, LeAnne's manipulating you. And I think what's kind of sort of ironic in this episode, like, I'm loving Kameron so much, but in this particular episode, we really get to see her kind of play both sides against each other. So when she's there with Kameron, when Kameron is there with D'andra and Kary, she's standing up for LeAnne, but she has to admit herself that some of it stems from that some of it could stem from jealousy, And it's interesting because Kary points it out, and specifically D'andra was like, Leeanne is very possessive of her friend, very territorial. She makes these sort of comments. And Kameron agrees to some extent. And she even admits to herself that she'll go back and kind of make D'andra make Leeanne feel more comfortable and stable in their relationship and help them keep it together, and let her know that nothing is going to come between them. And it's like, I'm sorry, are you dating Leeanne? Like, what is that about? It was just kind of an interesting thing that Kameron just felt so, it was almost like high school or something. Like Leeanne is jealous because she sees you having fun with Kary, and now the whole evening was just ruined. I mean, to some extent, because Kameron decided to hang with Kary, even though supposedly Leeanne has never told her that she couldn't hang out with someone. So that is kind of interesting to see how Kameron is like in such a hard spot. But as much as D'andra and Kary like push her to stand up for herself, she in the end sort of ends up, not doing it. They did have a nice shopping trip together. It was it is very nice to see the relationship, I think, between Kary and Kameron start to blossom, because I think they're both kind of coming at each other in a way that's honest, even when they don't agree. So Kary is not a big fan of Leeanne, and she says what she thinks, and Kameron defends her, but not in a way that's going to sort of antagonize, any new friendship she has. And she keeps saying, well, Leeanne, doesn't mind, or basically Leeanne lets her, as Leeanne said herself, do what she wants to do. And I think because Kameron is the youngest in the group, maybe she is indeed very fearful of Leeanne, as, she has them hands, they're just hands, but she can't do a lot with them. So I think it's interesting to see sort of their fear, her fear of Leeanne, but she's trying to make a new way. And in this episode, we get to see a little bit more of Kameron's sort of quirky, funny side. Like Kameron has a lot of, really funny one-liners and kind of funny statements. And, Kameron is a lot of fun. Even if she's not standing up to Leeanne, I'm still kind of really turning into a true Kameron fan. So let's get to my other favorites on this show, which would be Brandi and Stephanie. They're so cute in their matching robes. And, they're just like the BFFs, the BFF couple, I think, of all the Housewives franchises. And so we see Travis comes in, and we see a really good intimate moment between Travis and Stephanie. And it was really interesting because they're talking about his father, and they haven't spoken to him in, over a week, or Travis hasn't spoken to him in over a week. And, they're just really worried. And it was kind of interesting because Stephanie made the point of saying that she's really worried about him, about Travis's father, but she has to be strong for Travis. And I just think that their relationship right now is just the strongest I've seen it since the season, since the show started, like since season one. He just seems so much more mature than, than originally when we first started. And it's just always funny to hear Travis's sort of male perspective on the women fights as well. And Stephanie certainly fills him in with all of the drama from the ping pong show. And one thing I found really interesting is the first thing he said was, did Kameron go? And did she seem like she was having a good time? And so to some extent, I think everyone sort of knows what a prude Kameron is. And, so maybe the red light district indeed wasn't the right area for her. You know what I'm saying? Because she's been to Thailand, but I guess apparently not to the ping pong show, obviously. So everyone is sort of concerned about Kameron, but she is a grown woman. I mean, she's an adult. And so it's interesting that everybody has these concerns, and Leeanne really stresses the whole time that she went to keep Kameron safe. And that in and of itself is kind of a crazy thing, because how is Leeanne, one person, going to keep Kameron more safe than the other 4 girls or, than the whole crew together? So Leeanne has this sort of protective nature over Kameron, which is understandable. But it's interesting to see how she's trying to use that to sort of manipulate the situation. And hopefully, I think she wants to drive a wedge between Kameron and Kary. So I think that whole dynamic is going to be interesting to see how it plays out. Next week is the finale, so so we'll see what's going on by the time we get it to the reunion. All right, you guys, before I move on to the dinner and the final blowouts, what I would like to say is thank you guys so much for making AfterBuzz TV the ESPN of TV, TV after shows. And we couldn't do it without you guys. And if you're watching right now, or if you're in the live chat, then certainly leave a comment. But like, subscribe, check us out on iTunes, check us out on SoundCloud, all of those good things. Because without you guys, we couldn't do what we truly love here to do, which is talk about all of these shows that we love. And for me specifically, the Housewives. But yeah, thank you guys so much for allowing us to do that. We couldn't do it without you. All right, you guys. So let's talk a little bit more about Brandi and Stephanie. So each trip, their friendship is so amazing. And each trip, they kind of, Stephanie always does something sort of cute with Brandi, kind of like celebrating their friendship. So, and the producer showed us clips of like bubble baths and champagne. So what we see this trip is Stephanie goes all out, and it's so cute the way the producers do it. Because at first she's like, okay, I want champagne and strawberries and whipped cream and all of this. And we think she's, maybe I was the only dummy that thought she was going to do it for Travis. But no, she gets there and she blindfolds Brandi. And she's giving Brandi all this, all these chocolate-covered strawberries. And it was such a cute moment between them. Totally funny, And then at one point, Brandi's like, are you going to put a penis in my mouth? And yes, that's Brandi to the core. Always going to go blue when she can. But yeah, it was a really, really cute moment between them. And they kind of bonded and kind of just talked about the trip and talked about their friendship and kind of, what she's going through with her adoption of Bruin. And he's going to be a year. Like, can you guys believe it? It seems like, just the other day she was bringing him downstairs. But yeah, so it's, they're coming up, and that's how they're going to do the season finale, because they always end with a party. So the party is going to be the 1-year anniversary of Bruin's adoption. So that is going to be phenomenal and crazy and fun, all of that. So yeah, it'll be really, really great. And then, but it was nice to kind of see them have their good moment as well. And so finally, we end up with the dinner. All right, this is their final dinner. Stephanie is going to stay for an additional week or some additional time with Travis, but they're all there. This is their final moment together. They found a good restaurant. Everybody's getting dressed. Everybody looks amazing. Everybody looks lovely. And, we go to the dinner, and it starts. They start in, and immediately there's this discussion about Leeanne making Kameron cry. And Leeanne apologizes, and right away, Kary gets in it. And that's one thing I do like about Kary, is that to be the new chick on the block, she's not going to back down. She doesn't back down from it. She's not afraid of anything. And she doesn't need anybody to back her up. She doesn't need a team. She doesn't need anything. Now, what is interesting is that Kameron, even when Kameron was shopping with D'andra and Kary, she never admitted to Kary. No one has admitted to Kary all the sort of racial slurs that Leeanne has been saying for the past several episodes. So at some point, they even asked her, D'andra and Kary asked Kameron point blank, did Leeanne talk about me? That's what Kary said, did Leeanne? And Kameron was like, no. She said you all didn't get along in the beginning. She clearly, she lies to her face. And she even says in the confessional, this isn't the time. This will ruin the trip if she knows what what Leeanne's been saying. And I think that's a tough one because I do feel like, well, obviously it's going to, Kary's going to find out. But I don't know. I mean, I think if she's also building a friendship with Kary, and she was asked point blank. I mean, I understand her reasoning for not saying so, but I don't know. I kind of feel like, I guess we'll have to wait. Maybe they're trying to I feel like they're saving the juice for the reunion, okay? Because in all honesty, someone should have been like, okay, look, she has been ragging on this whole you're a Mexican thing for the longest. And that needs to kind of really be addressed and at least maybe perhaps give us a chance to see even where Leeanne is coming from on this. And if she's not racist, then what's her purpose? Like, why is she doing this? So in the beginning, it's mostly sort of Leeanne and Kary going toe to toe. And Kameron is trying to, and that's when we really get to see, I mean, I hate to say it, but Kameron almost seems weak at this point. All right. I mean, we really see Kameron kind of, standing by Leeanne, stand by your man. She's going to stay with Leeanne. That's exactly what she does in this episode. So even though she was out with Kary and D'andra and she realized that Leeanne indeed probably was manipulating her, at that point, she just didn't have the nerve to stand up to her. And so she was like, Leeanne apologized to me. Was I hurt? Was I crying? She apologized to me and I accepted her apology. And Kary and D'andra, they both were kind of like, okay, she's controlling you. She's manipulating you. And in an effort to kind of stand up to them, Leeanne mentioned that, she was, we get into this discussion really about how she feels triggered. And this is what Kameron does. Kameron actually comes up with an excuse for Leeanne. And everybody at the table is looking like, okay, really? You're drinking too much of the Kool-Aid, Kameron. Kameron says that she feels that because of Leeanne's history, that being in the red light district triggered her and she overreacted. And and everybody's just speechless because in essence, everything in this entire trip has, if nothing else, it has triggered Leeanne. She was triggered by the elephants because she had been broken like the elephant has been broken. Now she's triggered by the people in the red light district because, I don't know, she thought about being a stripper. I don't know, but she was triggered by that. And it's, so Kameron kind of uses that to kind of trying to deflect, but all of the girls are just looking at Kameron like, we pity the fool. That's all. They're just giving her those sort of, what are you doing, Kameron, and why? Because to all of them individually, when Leeanne wasn't there, she was starting to stand up for herself. She was starting to have some sort of more of a backbone. But right in Leanne's face, nada. Nothing, guys. You know what I'm saying? Nothing at all, really. And so, so then at some point, Leeanne, and so finally, which I'm finally glad about this, Brandi at last stands up for it. Because all along, I mean, Brandi has been working really hard to build a friendship and build this thing up with Leeanne. And finally, she's like, look, even when we went to the elephant thing, we get back, we have a good moment together, and you bring it back to you once we get back in the bus. And that's all this whole trip. Every time they went somewhere, it always ended up being about Leeanne and whatever drama she could bring about. Either it was, oh, she's telling Kary to take her hat off, or the elephants are broken, or so many. And it's like, you can't say anything to her because she always relates it back to her childhood and her abuse in a way to shut down any conversation. And this dinner is one of the few times where they all sort of took the time to really stand up to her. So Brandi gets mad. Brandi just walks out. She's like, I can't take it. She walks away. So Brandi walks out, she goes upstairs, and actually Kary does go with her as well. And then, then we're still left with Stephanie and D'andra and Kameron and Leeanne, and they're kind of trying to, now Stephanie says nothing because Stephanie is sweet and she's the hostess with the mostest. So she doesn't say anything really the whole time. She's just trying to bear it and make it through the night so she can be with her man. And D'andra really kind of goes back to Leeanne and she's like, look, you're over dramatizing. You're making everything about you. You're always the victim. And Leeanne tries to stand up to it. And I will say this one time, D'andra has been pretty much a bit of a witch this entire season, but she has made some good points. Unfortunately, this behavior in Leeanne this entire season has all been about, oh my gosh, every argument is about her and how badly she feels about her childhood and how it's impacting like every little part of her life. And she has ruined, personally, I feel like she ruined this vacation. If I had to listen to her mouth and her complaining the entire time I was in Thailand about how bad everything is and how it relates back to her abusive childhood, like that's a lot for anyone to even think about dealing with. So, that's kind of, but in the end, again, when Kameron finally calms down and everything kind of seems halfway like it might be a decent meal, although several people have left now, and it's just Stephanie, D'andra, Kameron, and Leeanne. Leeanne gets up and walks away. And poor Kameron is like, Leeanne. And then Stephanie is like, look, my man here, so I'm going to go get me some. And then D'andra goes to sleep. And so poor Kameron, after all this drama, all this debate, she's left at the table alone. And that's when we see the Kameron that I know and love, because she has some great quotes right here. She says something like, you retreat, I'm going to eat. You snooze, you lose. And she proceeds to just, do the little lazy Susan and eat as much of everyone's meal as she can, because she's the only one there. She's the only one. Kameron, the last woman standing, is the woman who gets to eat the dinner. That's how this goes. So this was yet another meal where almost nobody ate anything. So that was kind of how this episode wraps up. We see a little bit more of, Kameron and Leeanne sort of like, basically Kameron just being like, okay, I want us to be good. Please don't lock me out. Just basically Kameron begging. And Kameron, girl, you're too cool, too funny, too poised, too beautiful to just be up Leanne's butt like this. You let it go. Let it go. You can still be her friend, but, you should be your own woman. All right, you guys, that is it for episode 14. We made it. All right, you guys. So first and foremost, let's take a look at some tweets. All righty. All right, this first one is by Amanda at One Trash TV Addict. Leeanne, you can't arbitrarily pick when to be triggered. She's mad about the ping pong show, but wanted to go to the Ladyboy show. Newsflash, they both include sex workers, and they're both in the same neighborhood. I'm so over the double standards and crocodiles. Tears. Yes, I totally agree with that. It's like the only reason she wasn't triggered by the Ladyboy show. She was having fun. And that was the thing with Leeanne. She was having fun the entire evening. And then all of a sudden, she's flipping out when it's all over. Or she's flipping out because Kary and Kameron are having fun. Go figure. All right. One hitter housewife. Ed Camp Scott was playing both sides a bit, but I'd be scared of Leeanne too. Hashtag RHOD. Yes. The fear is real. Alrighty, the next one Is Lisa Hackman at Cam Mascot going to a ping pong show in Thailand is not going to ruin your reputation in society circles if it has survived being on Real Housewives of Dallas. And that is the truth, Ruth. If you can be on this petty show with these people, then, you know, the red light district is nothing. All righty. And then our last one is by Kyle George. So let me get this straight. Leeanne made a dig at D'Andra's bank account again. Oh, she called her broke again. But she's the one who has yet to pay any of her vendors and got people to donate things for her wedding. Okay, just want to make sure I'm on the right page. Hashtag RHOD. Yes, Kyle, you are on the right page. You have said nothing but the truth there. Leeanne didn't pay for her wedding. As far as I know, Leeanne doesn't have any money. Or does she have a job? I ask you all this every season. Let me know if you know. So you guys, those are our tweets. But yeah, if you guys tweet us, we have a few more episodes left. You know, tag any of us in the group. I'm Erika Edwards, but tag AfterBuzz, Real Housewives of Dallas, and I'll shout out your tweets as well. All right, you guys, moving on to some news and gossip.
AfterBuzz TV News.
All right, so the main thing we have are some photos. Let's see. We should have the seating arrangement for. All right. Well, okay, you guys are running a little short on time, but that video, we do have a video of their dresses because now basically the things, since we're getting down to the next week is the season finale, then after that. So now everything is out in reference to what they're wearing to the reunion, which this year it's a combination of red and black. And basically go to Bravo. I think that's from Bravo T. And you can check out sort of their dresses. And Leeanne has this long gown, which honestly looks very much like her Infinity dress, but it's red and has longer sleeves. So I feel like it's a spinoff of her Infinity dress, but it's very nice. So all the women are either wearing red and black for the reunion. And then we should have a picture of their seating chart so we can see where everybody is seated. Let me pull that up for you as well on my phone here. Let's see. Okay. All right, you guys. We're trying to get it up, but I will go through it anyway because I do have it here. So let's see. All right. Okay. Do we have it? Okay. All right. Oh my goodness, you guys. All right. So here we have it. All right. Okay. So on the left, we have Andy. And then on the left, we have Brandi, Leeanne, Stephanie. Okay. Oh, thank you. Here we go. All right. Thank you so much. Okay. So on the right hand, I can see you guys. This is great. All right. So we have Kameron. And then the next person, Andy in the middle. Then we have, can we pull? Come back to me. All right, you guys. Brandi. Here we go. Sorry, people. D'andra. Leeanne. Are we doing it? Then Kary. Kary's to the right. And Stephanie's to the left. And then Kameron's at the right. So that's really interesting, you guys, actually. Sorry for the delay and the Erika difficulties. But so what's interesting is Leeanne is not right next to Andy because Andy usually has the people with the biggest beefs right next to him. But instead, he has like Stephanie's on one side of him. So that'll be a little bit interesting. So maybe they're changing things up, but they're definitely making the girls wear certain colors. So you guys can check out that video when you get the chance. But yeah, and then the last thing, article of news is I will let you guys know some other additional tea that recently, Stephanie told the blogs that currently she and Kameron are not speaking. she considers Kameron a bully and that they would never really actually hang out if it weren't for the show. So I don't know if maybe we'll have to see next week. Maybe something goes on with them. But it's interesting. So so actually they're not even speaking, although they seemed cool at dinner. So let's see what happened to you guys. All right, you guys, I guess I will give you one quick prediction.
AfterBuzz TV predictions.
All right, you guys. So here's the thing. I predict, I predict a little bit of a blowout or some sort of I think Cameron's going to pull away from Leeanne a little bit. So that's one of my predictions. I definitely think, especially once the racism gets out there, the racist comments, I think once those things are fully fleshed out, I think Cameron's going to have to back up off of Leeanne because, her reputation could take a hit if she's hanging out with a racist. But we'll see how that goes. All right, you guys, thank you so much for joining me tonight. I am your host, Erika Edwards, and you can follow me on all of my social media at Erika, that's Erika, D as in door, Edwards. And if you guys are fans of Real Housewives of Atlanta, you can catch me here Sunday evenings as well. Same place, but a later time. All right, you guys, thank you so much for checking us out. Come back next week. Everybody will be here for the season finale, and we'll get it in. All right, you guys, ciao for now. Bye, folks.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.